So there's been a lot of buzz about Mason Miller to the Yankees, and as a Yankee fan, I really hope it's true. But will it become a reality? I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see. And that's what we're gonna be discussing in today's video. Before we get into it, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. It would help out the channel a lot. So, nonetheless, here we go. We're looking at Mason Miller's Baseball Savant page, and is it a thing of beauty? A bunch of red. You're seeing some hundreds being thrown up there. I mean, you can see it, the expected ERA of 1.34, the expected batting average of .125, the fastball velo of 101.3, all hundreds there. Very, very good. Not much has to be said. And Mason Miller, early on in the year, he was in Cy Young talks. Could he win it as a reliever? And although that has obviously died down a little bit, he's come back to reality, and one would say. Reality being for Mason Miller, what is it, a .89 ERA? Okay, so obviously he's not going to win the Cy Young, but it doesn't take away from the fact that he is the best reliever in baseball, the best closer, and he is indeed having one of the best closing seasons of any reliever in baseball history right now. It's pretty crazy. And in terms of the Yankees, we do have the best bullpen ERA in all of Major League Baseball at 3.1. However, ERA isn't the best way to gauge a reliever. We've seen that many times at this point, I'd say. So when we're talking about our circle of trust here, I'm thinking of David Bednar. I'm thinking of... Who am I thinking of? David Bednar, Fernando Cruz, and Brent Hedrick. Those three, I can confidently say they could probably get the job done. Fernando Cruz could be a bit iffy here and there, but I give him a ton of credit because if there's a jam and I see Fernando Cruz getting put in the game, I think there's a pretty good chance we'll get out of it. And David Bednar, he's been nails as of late. He started off the season a little rocky, but he's been really good lately. And Brent Hedrick has kind of been this unforeseen warrior out of the bullpen. Been really good, pitching to an ERA in the ones. Been really locked down for us. But outside those three, there's a ton of question marks. A ton of question marks. And for a team that's trying to go into the World Series, the bullpen's got to be a lot better. We got to have a bunch of guys in there that are going to be nails for us to help out our best starting rotation in baseball. So, will we get Mason Miller? It's going to take a big haul. The haul we'll probably be looking at is going to be either one or both. Yikes, of Lombard Jr. or Carlos Lagrange. And here's where I get a bit iffy. Do you want to give up those top prospects for essentially a relief pitcher? Mason Miller boils down to he's just a relief pitcher. He just pitches an inning a game. And he's going to have days off. You see here, he's only pitched 40 innings so far this year. So you're going to give away essentially your shortstop of the future for a relief pitcher. And I think that's where I draw the line on Lombard. I know we've had top prospect shortstops come up who haven't really performed Volpe, but I feel like you have to take the chance with Lombard, especially given that the shortstop market in the future, free agent wise and trade wise, is looking a little iffy, and shortstop's just been a question mark for the Yankees for a while. So I think the untouchable here is Lombard. However, Lagrange, there's a good chance he does become a relief pitcher in the future maybe. So we could just kind of do a little flip-flop of Mason Miller, Lagrange. But Lagrange is really good. Chucks over 100 miles per hour. His command has always been an issue. But I'd be willing to throw in Lagrange. So another couple players that might be thrown in would be, I think, either one of Jones or Dominguez. And I think this is the time that the Yankees should get rid of Jones. I'm not really sure what his future is with the Yankees. He looked pretty good during his little stint up. He was hitting the ball hard, but yet again, he had a strikeout rate of about 45%. That's not going to cut it in the big league level. And who knows? When Judge came up in 2016, he had a pretty similar issue. Very high strikeout percentage, but he was hitting the ball hard. But the Yankees' outfield is very locked up, and depending on what we do with Trent Grisham going into next offseason, it's either going to open up the spot for Jason Dominguez or we resign Trent Grisham, like I said. And this ultimately is going to boil down to who the Yankees trust more. Is it going to be Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez? And Jason has been a little disappointing this year, that is for sure. OPS about 700. Still really shaky in the outfield, but who knows? I think he's a lot more comfortable in center field. That's the position he was playing. So if we were to get rid of Trent Grisham, he slots in right there. Maybe he's a little more comfortable defensively. Maybe that opens some doors offensively. So if I had to pick Jason or Jones, I'd ship away Jones. So right now we're looking at LaGrange, Jones. Who else will we give up? I'd be looking at giving up ERC too. I mean, the Padres are really into starting pitching, especially the prospects here. ERC's been a little bit iffy when in the big leagues. I think he's a promising pitcher. He's been really good in the minor leagues. Obviously a top prospect. He's known more for his command. He hasn't really shown the command in the major league level, but ultimately it just boils down to hey, he's probably a little shaky, right? He kind of got thrown into the mix a little too early. And I think he's a capable starting pitcher. Throw him in the deal. And then I think another player you might want to give up. You're going to want to give up, I don't know, either one of Will Warren, Ryan Weathers maybe. Probably a major league capable starting pitcher right now. So those two could be an option. It would kind of suck to give away those guys, but for Mason Miller, I'd be willing to do it. And obviously Mason Miller does have 3 years of control after this year, so he's very valuable. Looking at the Yankees' top prospects, if the Padres did really want an infielder, I'd be comfortable giving up Dax Kilby. Obviously, he's not as major league ready as George Lombard Jr., but in this case, he's just an untouchable. He can make an impact this season for the Yankees, and I think he's going to have an impact in the future, as a matter of fact, obviously. So if they wanted Dax Kilby instead of Elmer Rodriguez, I'd be cool with that. Obviously, we're going to be giving away Carlos LaGrange. I'd be comfortable with that. Spencer Jones, obviously, is on that cusp of being major league capable. And then as well, I mean, Chase Hampton, Ben Hess could be other notable guys that could be thrown in the deal. Ben Hess throws very hard, has a very similar windup to Garrett Cole, so that will be his player comp, somewhat. Obviously, Ben Hess is not going to be Garrett Cole. Who knows? Someone's going to clip that in 10 years when he actually is the next Garrett Cole. But those could be names being thrown around in the deal, and I'd be comfortable to give them up for Mason Miller. Now, as for what AJ Preller is thinking, I don't know. He's a madman. The whole incentive of getting Mason Miller was that you're going to get a guy who is the best reliever in baseball for 4 years under contract, and hey, you're going to give up the number one prospect in baseball. That's the trade-off. However, fast forward just 1 year, and AJ Preller is signaling that, hey, we're willing to trade him. What? I don't get it. AJ Preller is just psychotic. He does this all the time. He just makes trades, and hey, does it make you scratch your head? Oh yeah, it does. Is it good for baseball? It is kind of fun to see what that man does. And hey, if it's going to happen, to be that Mason Miller is going to be a Yankee, hell yeah. It happened a couple years ago with Soto being a Yankee. AJ Preller is just a crazy dude. Anyways, those are kind of my rambling thoughts about Mason Miller and the possibility of him becoming a Yankee. He's a very dominant reliever, and if the Yankees want to win the World Series, you have to make your best effort to go out and get him. And to have him coming in to close games in the postseason, that would be huge. And it would definitely help the bullpen out a ton. Will we only get Mason Miller for the bullpen? Probably not. I think we're probably going to get another reliever. As for who it is, I'm not really sure. It could be just a guy who we've never heard of that Brian Cashman says, hey, I like what you have. The underlying numbers look nice. And Matt Blake could kind of get you to where you need to be. And he could also be doing some big things for us. If we don't get Mason Miller, I definitely, for sure, think we're going to get another high-leverage reliever. As for who it is, I guess we'll also have to find out. Brian Cashman is a very interesting guy when it comes to reliever trades. And, hey, I'll give him credit. They usually work out. And as for other needs for the Yankees, we really need a catcher. Ryan Jeffers, Hunter Goodman. One of those would be nice. Alright, so the trade deadline is just a few weeks away. When all the trades are said and done, we'll make a video recapping all of it. Hopefully the Yankees are a better team come that time. We can only pray. So, yeah. If you guys liked the video, hit a like, hit the subscribe button, and we'll catch you later. Mason Miller to the Yankees. Bring them home.